Here are 4 words I never thought I'd say. The Clippers are healthy.
And they hooping.
Hey, happy Monday, everybody. Let's start the week off right with the PHNX Suns pregame show, of course, brought to you by Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you. At Gila River Resorts and Casinos, visit playatgila.com for more details. I'm Erik. That's Steven. We got crazy computer guy Noah behind the Mac making all the magic happen, and do as he says, which is leave a like right there. See that nice graphic there? Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you, Leo, Lucas, Sandman, M. John, Matrix, Brian, King J-Rock, Francisco, Leo, Cara, Lonnie, Chunky, Patrick, the whole crew, Lisa and Michael here as well. Thank you to all of you who have already hit that like button. Thank you to all of you who are going to stick around for all pregame and, of course, join us back for postgame as well. Before we get into tonight's game, Steven, which is going to be a really exciting game, good measuring stick for the Phoenix Suns. What would an NBA day be without some drama?
Yeah, that's what it always is when these teams go up against each other. And I'm very curious how they're going to come out and whose terms this game is going to be played on more.
Well, I know the terms that are being played on as far as Miami we're also a little unsure about. And before we dive into today's game, we have to at least bring up, and we'll talk about this more in postgame, along with maybe some rumors about Bradley Beal and Yusuf Nurkic as well. Jimmy Butler is suspended indefinitely. I'm surprised the NBA PA hasn't put out a statement yet at this point.
I mean, this feels super sporadic with the way that the Heat have been making these type of decisions. I mean, they just got in trouble 2 weeks ago for bringing back a jersey and a court that was not approved by the NBA. So that's just another wrinkle in this compilation of decisions that Miami's making that is kind of rash and brazen in many respects. So
yeah,
the NBPA hasn't had a chance to catch up to things like this, but needless to say, there will be a lot of different external entities involved with how this whole situation is being assessed for how it's been handled.
Yeah, walking out a shoot around when you learn that you're not starting Haywood Highsmith over me instead of Tobias Harris over me. Just another addition to the Jimmy Butler saga. We'll get into a little bit more of that later. I want to apologize to my wife. Did not see her. She was in here until now. I am very sorry. Would not purposely ignore you. And we also cannot ignore, unfortunately, some news that came out from Bradley Beal's family. Now, there was a statement that was put out there earlier today from Camilla Adams Beal, which is Bradley Beal's wife. And I'm going to read this just as a lesson to Suns fans to remember that as much as maybe you want a trade, this is still real life with real people. So she put out this statement here saying, I usually ignore nonsense as I like to leave the circus to the clowns, but let's be clear. Let's clear this up. Being a fan is fine. Boo, you suck comes with sports, but disrespect is another thing. During the game, a, quote, Suns fan spent the entire night heckling my husband. It got so bad I sent my kids away in the third quarter after multiple people asked if we were okay, and I asked if I wanted them to say something. The breaking point came in the fourth when my kids were back and the fan yelled, trade this bum-ass Beal for Jimmy Butler. My 6-year-old, with tears in his eyes, asked why someone would say that about his dad. So at that point, security had to intervene, or I was going to. Now, she goes on to say that athletes are human. I'm not going to read the rest of it there, but Steven, this just sucks.
Yeah, shouldn't be a surprise, though. We've heard this a few times from not the entire Suns fan base. This is a small faction of that. But people are far too comfortable and far too entitled.
Yes.
And that can be attached to any context of life you want to speak to in 2025. But speaking to sports, I can't imagine that Mrs. Beal and her kids were the only people that felt uncomfortable with how said fan or said fans were speaking out loud.
Mm-hmm.
That and for someone to go to the extent to speak like that, there's no way that doesn't come with you being aware of making other people uncomfortable around you. I promise you there are a handful of people that turn around every couple seconds just looking, if not engaging in going back and forth with said individuals. They have to be better. You just have to be better.
Yeah, it's a very bad look for the fan base. A majority of Suns fans are not like this.
Mhm.
And I hate that these are going to be the type of Suns fans that get kind of more exposure.
That's the same thing that happened in the finals.
Yeah.
So this is, again, these are just sub-segments, super duper sub-segments, but they exist nonetheless.
Yeah, and it sucks. And if you're somebody who's kind of on the fence, oh, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna scream, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Like, again, booing is fine. Like, booing is okay. Booing, I think, in some points this season probably could have been encouraged.
Mm-hmm.
But personal attacks, like, it's sports. Like, I'm sorry, but it's not that serious. It's just not.
It's never that serious to be calling somebody out of their name. Like, there's never any instance that a player could go through to where a fan that's sitting however many rows up in the stand should be calling them out of their name.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like we don't really have too much to say besides that, besides the fact of don't do this, be better than this. Bradley Beal, if you don't like him as a player, fine. If you want him to get traded, fine. He has taken everything in stride this entire season. Even in the seasons past as well. True consummate professional. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
It's embarrassing for fans to act like that for someone that's been so professional.
Yeah.
And my thing is the point that Mrs. Beal made at the end of her statement. A lot of people are warriors behind keyboards or fake aliases. Or if they do happen to do it in person, they're doing it from a safe distance away. And they're using language that they wouldn't use if there was no barrier between them and whoever it is that's the subject to which they're speaking to. So I just want people to be better. It's not hard. It's literally free to be a good individual.
It is.
And it's even more free to have discernment.
Yeah.
And I know that's asking for a lot from adults, but just even the slightest inkling of discernment might just do you a solid going forward in your life. But I promise you gain nothing and quite literally wasted your money to go and do that and then get kicked out of the game. Like, what are you doing with your life right now?
You're proud
of seriously.
that? Yeah.
Like, that, like, did you go home and brag about this? Like, seriously,
what
are
I got
you
kicked
doing
out of the
right
game.
now?
Oh, they were so who cares? Right? Like, and it's
embarrassing.
There
man.
are so many great fans that will never get the type of publicity. And that is unfortunate.
Yep.
Yeah, and people are very, very comfortable saying mean things to people that they don't know.
Of course.
And that's something that we learn every day in this world. But let's move on from that. Let's put that hopefully behind us as a fan base. And if you are at a game and you hear somebody doing that, put them in check a little bit. Let them know, like, yo, that's not okay. Like, be accountable for your fellow fans. But let's take a look at the injury report for Suns Clippers tonight because, my lord, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Norman Powell, all playing for the Clippers. Chris Dunn is out. Jordan Miller out. PJ Tucker out. Cam Christie and Kai Jones are out as well. For the Phoenix Suns, big hit. Ryan Dunn, who of course exited last game against the Washington Wizards early with an ankle sprain, is out with a left ankle sprain. Now, we do have Mike Budenholzer on Ryan Dunn's status and if he would call him day-to-day.
I think the first 24, 48 hours have been positive. So each day, you're just hoping for more good news and, we'll just continue to monitor him, see how he's doing, but it's been positive so far. It's a great question. I'm not the medical, so I'm not going to call him anything.
Unfortunately, we've had our great deal of examples going with sprained ankles this season with the Suns.
Yeah.
I wouldn't imagine he's back before Friday's game against the Warriors. I would hope so, but usually when you're younger, you do heal sooner, quicker than others. But I don't know, man.
Ankle sprains are tough.
Ankle sprains are very tough.
And that seemed like a pretty rough one. I wasn't on the post-game show, but I went back, obviously, and watched it. And full speed, all your weight, crutches after the game.
He had to leave. He tried to go back down court on defense right after that and just couldn't do it. Like, that's tough. It's a tough bite at the apple, but everybody goes through these injuries. No excuses for this Suns team with the way that they're built and the top end talents that they've compiled. You got to show up and handle business, and this is an important juncture of the schedule right now, arguably the most important right now in this 5 games.
Would you say this? I think this might be the most critical point of the season for the Suns, because you just come off playing some easier competition, right? You're taking down your Washingtons, your Charlottes of the world and whatnot. Now, tonight, you're facing an LA team that is 6-2 in their last 8, just beat the Bucks, who are on a 5-game winning streak and also stand 2.5 games above you in the Western Conference standings, in a packed Western Conference standings. I mean, the Suns are 13.5 games out of the 1 seed, so obviously does not matter. But 2.5 games behind the Clippers, who they play tonight, who are the 6th seed, and the Lakers, who are the 5 seed, right? This next stretch of games, because I believe you're also taking on the Timberwolves soon. Wednesday. So your next game is going to be against Minnesota, right, in Golden State. So it's all within the Western Conference and people who are competing for a similar spot to you. Tonight's game means a lot.
It does, and to take it even to another point, the Suns are 2-0 against the Clippers right now. If they win this game, they guarantee a season series stamping win over the Clippers, which naturally will play relevant at the end of the season. And again, winning a game against a team that's playing this well, that's ahead of you in the standings, sniping them and bringing them down to your level, you don't get this many more chances. And again, especially with this team playing the way that they're playing, this is where you want to be. So to do the things that you want to be in terms of getting back into that top 6 space, you got to start with tonight and handling your business accordingly.
Yeah, you do need to handle your business. And before we get to our predictions, I want Noah to put in the chat. Somebody asked, I believe it was Chris, asked if Noah has a poll for us today. Noah, I want you to put a poll about who wins tonight's game. You can make the options however you please, but something relating to who wins tonight's game. Ryan Dunn, big loss, especially because you're going to be taking on not only Kawhi Leonard, but James Harden as well. You assume KD's going to guard Kawhi. Ryan Dunn would have been your first choice to put on Harden. In his place, Bradley Beal not starting. Royce O'Neal starting for the Suns tonight. Steven, do you see Royce getting that primary assignment on Harden?
I mean, somebody's got to play defense outside of the power forward and center in the starting lineup. So naturally, it made the most sense to have Royce O'Neal for this Clippers matchup be the one that's starting. But that doesn't guarantee that Royce is going to do a great job defending James Harden, because Royce is better when he's guarding bigger wings or forwards close to operate in the mid-range and closer to the paint. James Harden does not operate from those spaces natively. He's someone that plays a lot of pick and roll. He's an all-time great at pick and roll, and he's an isolation savant on top of all of that. If Royce can't do his job containing the ball, and Nick Richards has drive after floater after pump fake, and then he's getting fouled, and Nick Richards gets in foul trouble, there's not another outlet for this Suns team to win this game. So point of attack defense, especially because the Clippers are no strangers to screening for Harden, getting a weaker matchup, and then operating with that matchup in pick and roll. They have to do a great job at the point of attack tonight.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And the Nick Richards point is really good, because he is somebody that does give you a better look defensively at center, but he's not a perfect defender, and he's not the type of guy that's a fix-all. Right? You slap a Band-Aid on a broken arm, right? You can't do that with him. He needs to be put in a good system too. And so if he doesn't have like a Ryan Dunn directing that type of traffic, or even now Kevin Durant, who's going to be guarding a little bit more on the perimeter as he takes on the Kawhi Leonard approach, like, that's unfortunate for him, because he's also battling down low with Zubac as well, who is a very formidable center in this league. I would venture to say maybe the most underrated center, because every single night, night in, night out, you're getting effort, toughness, rebounding, physicality. Besides obviously facing Jared Allen, this is the biggest test for Nick Richards since he's been a Sun.
It is. Ivica Zubac is the most underrated starting center in the NBA. He's been that for a few seasons now, in my opinion. And he just does everything, literally everything outside of just three-point shooting. Like anything else, he checks off the boxes. Screens well, defends screens well, runs the floor, makes short roll passes. He does everything that you would want from your big, and he also does that at a 7'1" height on top of all of that.
Big guy.
He just gets the job done, and he's solid defensively more than anything. And I think that's going to be a great matchup for Nick Richards tonight, because he has someone that is maybe an inch or two taller than him and is going to be more than willing to bang with that same type of physicality that he usually can use to dictate to his opponent. So it's going to be fun watching the towers colliding with each other in the paint.
It will be interesting. Almost 300 of you in here right now on a Monday night. Thank you so much for being with PHNX Suns. If you're new around here, of course, remember we have a post-game show as well. Want you all to smash that like button. Not going to set a like goal. Those are for the hour-long shows. But if we could up that a little bit more, maybe 15, 20 more. Thank you to the person who just hit it and for the people who are about to hit that as well. And of course, hopefully you're subscribed to PHNX Sports. We cover everything imaginable. Somebody in the chat asking about if we think Mason Plumlee will be motivated tonight. I think just as important as how the Suns look with Nick Richards on the floor is how they maintain with him off the floor tonight.
I mean, there's no saying that he's going to actually play in this one.
That is honestly also true, yeah.
Clippers love to play small, whether they're reacting to their opponents or they're trying to dictate to their opponents, especially behind Zubac. And they have a few different wings that they can put at the 5. Most recently, it's been Amir Coffey playing a lot of those minutes. In the event that happens, it doesn't make any sense to play Mason Plumlee.
Right.
It should be Oso Ighodaro. Oso has to show up, though. If Oso is not up to task, naturally you put Plumlee in, and then you have to sort through the issues that the Clippers and their switching lineups present. But it's not a guarantee that Mason plays tonight.
No, and I also don't even know if it's a guarantee that Oso plays tonight either. I think this could be a KD at the 5 type of night. This might be a Royce at the 5 type of night, depending on how crazy Ty Lue gets, because that's kind of the big part in all of this. Before we, I think, dive a little bit more into Kawhi Leonard and how you feel like he's been since he's returned. Ty Lue constantly gives the Phoenix Suns fits. He's one of the best coaches in the NBA. And everybody fits. And that's when he has a depleted roster. You think about the beginning of the season when the Suns faced the Clippers twice within like 36 hours, basically. And Ty Lue was implementing all sorts of different schemes and whatnot just to throw the Suns off, right? Just to make them uncomfortable. That was without Kawhi. Right? That was without Norman Powell really getting into his rhythm and playing at a near all-star level. Now you have all those things coming together at once at Ty Lue's disposal. That's dangerous for a team like the Phoenix Suns, who could sometimes walk into games looking unprepared.
Yeah, it is dangerous. And again, you can't say enough about Ty Lue and the job he does as a coach. I'm not sure there's another coach that does more with less, if you're not talking about Erik Spoelstra.
Yeah.
Outside of those two, they're in a realm of their own. And to that point, him getting Kawhi Leonard at this point in the season, after they've already established a defensive identity and a style of play on offense that they're still building around, it hits like a trade. It hits like a home run trade because Kawhi is just finding his way. Everybody else understands the style of play that they're looking to play, again, on both ends of the floor. And then you get somebody that could get 25 a night, even while on the minutes restriction. It just alleviates all type of pressure from James Harden on top of that. Like, this Clippers team is here. They're
Absolutely.
here, man.
They're playing really great basketball, and Kawhi's, been good since he's been back. But their offensive engine has been and will be tonight James Harden, who just dropped 40 on the Bucks, stopping the Bucks' 5-game win streak. How on earth do you contain James Harden tonight?
I don't think the Suns have the means to defend James Harden the way that they need to put a fire blanket over him. Especially without Ryan Dunn, who's been doing a sensational job picking players up 94 feet for every second that he's playing and forcing them to play with less time on the shot clock. And also just generally applying pressure, which naturally eats away at a player's stamina over the course of a game as well. Not having that is going to be something that really hurts them in this game. Additionally, though, James Harden, all-time great.
Yes.
Probably top 5 pick-and-roll ball handler ever. And he can make every pass. He can score on 3 levels, and he gets to the free throw line. You can call it gimmicks or whatever. The man gets the job done, and he's had his fair share of successes against the Suns already this season. Without Ryan Dunn, I just feel like the Suns are going to have to look elsewhere in terms of trying to take something else off the table. Maybe just make him score the basketball might be their best bet. But then again, that comes with them manipulating the floor of the game. And there's repercussions to pick. He's just that great.
I don't think the Suns have the facilities to quote-unquote shut down James Harden, but that doesn't mean that they can't be throwing everything possible to try. It's going to be a big, big night for the backcourt of the Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, who's still coming off the bench, and Tyus Jones. your defensive activity and energy, even if you're Tyus, right? And you're going to get kind of isolated and attacked on the defensive end, or Brad or Book, because if the other options are Royce, Katie, and Nick Richards, those are going to be the likely people you're trying to get on a switch. High activity, high energy needed from your star guard tonight in Devin Booker, your firecracker off the bench, and your undersized starting point guard. You don't need to shut them down, but you can't just be not giving your maximum amount of effort because, like we mentioned, tonight's game is really important.
Yep.
I wouldn't say it's a must win, but if you are trying to establish yourself as a non-play-in team, it's about as close as possible. So let's take a look at what we think is going to happen for tonight's result with our win predictions. Gerald is taking the Clippers by 4, but all of us have it being a close game. Myself and Espo are taking Suns by 1. Steven, you're not too far off. Suns by 3, the most optimistic of us tonight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a closely played game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game on top of that. And because of those things, I think that bodes in favor of the Suns. But that's if they do the things they need to do defensively in certain pockets of the game. Talked about them not stopping James Harden outright. Nobody does. Can you take something off the table from him? Can you say, okay, you're not getting your pull-up 3 in this game? In another pocket, can you say, okay, we're going to put 2 to you, and you got to trust whoever it is that's screening, whether that's Zubac or if it's one of their litany of small wings that they have guarding for them and making them make plays in the short roll from there. They just have to have a systematic approach to how they're going about guarding him. If it's not there, it's not going to matter at the end of the day, because if he has his way and the game is played on his terms, the winning percentage from him over his career is high. But I think someone else we have not spoken to yet that needs as many flowers as James Harden does for the Clippers is Norman Powell.
He's a bucket.
He does everything. In the minutes where James Harden has been off, he's been extremely good keeping them afloat, if not outright winning those minutes, especially when Kawhi Leonard was out. But next to James Harden, him just playing off of the advantages that he creates, or oftentimes just being a bucket in and of himself, like that dude is having a borderline all-star season. And check the numbers and go watch film of Norman Powell, the way he's hooping this season on both ends of the floor. He's shooting more threes. He's making a career high in threes, if I'm not mistaken. Like, this is why I'm saying there are layers to this Clippers team that if the Suns don't come prepared and don't set a tone, it's going to be a long night.
Couple people in the chat picking the Suns, but Megan, Sean, I believe Mac as well, all of them are taking the Clippers to win. However, in our poll, 70% are taking, as Noah put, the shiny Suns to beat the Clippy Clips, who are getting 30% of 100 votes. Continue to let your voice be heard. Vote in our poll. Drop a comment in the chat. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button as well. Let's take a look at the line, courtesy of our friends over at Bet365. They also have this one being about as close as possible. Clippers coming in at -1.5 on the spread, -125 on the money line. That means the Suns +1.5 on the spread, +105 on the money line. For a home game, that does mean that they expect the Clippers to definitely be not only just favored, but favored by a little bit more than that, because usually home court advantage is about 2 points in the betting lines. But speaking of bets, it's time for our pregame picks presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app, use code PHNX365 when you sign up, and find out why, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You must be 21 plus and physically located in AZ. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT-STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov. What are you putting your money on tonight, Steven?
I'm putting my money on both the Suns and the Clippers scoring more than Bet365 is suggesting. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I don't know if both teams get to 120, but I think one of these two teams will. I think Norman Powell, like I just got done speaking to, everything that he does is going to have a solid game, over 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists combined. Kevin Durant has been knocking down his three-pointers lately. They've been moving the ball well. I think when they do so, he gets open catch and shoot looks. Him knocking down over 2.5 threes should happen in this one. Zubac, we just got done speaking to him. Double-double machine. Just got off of 20 rebounds a couple of games ago. I think he's going to have a good game in this one. I also have him for the first basket.
Okay. How do you have a parlay that includes first basket and the odds are +975?
Don't know. That's not my business. My business is to make some money. So let's make some money.
That's fair enough. Let's take a look at Espo's. I really loved how in the other post-game show on Saturday night, Espo was just cheering you on. Just saying anybody but Erik winning. I can't have that guy win, especially after earlier in the episode he said I was right. Espo is taking a boosted parlay thanks to our friends over at Bet365, taking Suns money line and then Book and Durant to score 30 plus each. That comes in at a plus 1,800. What about me? What is little old me putting my money on? Oh, just a casual little 5-leg parlay here. That odds actually come out to be a little bit greater than that thanks to a boost over at Bet365. I got Bradley Beal over 21.5 PRA. I'm going to have him coming out playing with his hair lit on fire. I did put this bet in when I thought he was starting, but I think the fact that what happened to his family might also motivate him tonight, especially since tonight's game is at home. I got Kawhi over 21.5 PRA, even on a minutes restriction. I got KD over 1.5 stocks. Somebody's going to have to guard the paint. Devin Booker, 6.5 assists over. And Amir Coffey. Sometimes he's just a Suns killer. Over 1.5 3-pointers made. All of that comes in at a plus, I believe, 2,680 boosted over at our friends at Bet365. Steven, final thoughts as we go into what some consider a must-win game against the Los Angeles Clippers.
The Clippers love to load up with help when Kevin Durant and Devin Booker have the ball in isolation scenarios. So they did a great job playing to the second side in their most recent game. They need to continue on that trend and hope to create the same looks they did last game, because I would bet on them making 4 to 5 more threes than they did in their most recent one off of the looks that they were able to create with their passes. And then the other thing, watch for Ivica Zubac and who they put him on. Tyus Jones has not been shooting all that well. They haven't had issues putting him on guards before. They are not shooting well and manipulating matchups and switching everything else from there. Watch out for little tactics like that from Tyronn Lue in this one.
Absolutely. We do have a super chat from Black Mason. $10 super chat. Thank you. Says, I was always cool with KD having a burner account. Imagine the stuff he hears in his DMs. It kind of keeps you from getting fined for telling someone to eat a glizzy. I feel bad for Beal. Or I feel for Beal. Yeah. That is unfortunate. Remember, be a good person. And speaking of, I do want to give a shout out in remembrance to Dave King. 1 year ago today, the Suns community lost a Titan within itself, and we miss him every single day. Of course, Espo, who is currently traveling in Denver, would be able to speak much more to Dave King's personal and professional impact on this, but he laid the groundwork for a lot of what's going on in the Suns community today. Yeah. So we cannot go throughout any show on today and not mention that. But thank you.
I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Dave King. So
that's true. Yeah, you
rest in honor to Mr. King.
Yeah, big shout out to him. Big shout out to everybody in the chat. Sam Man says, got to get this one. Tony says he has a thought on this game. James Harden is overrated. We got Wow Factor, Kev, Leo, Lucas, Megan, Xavier, Lucky Deb, T, Chunky, Brent, everybody who's going to be back here for the PHNX Suns post-game show. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit that little bell. Turn that notifications button on and come back for post-game where hopefully, and I mean hopefully, we're playing that sweet, 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 sexy sax.
We all silly like the mayor.